Hi everyone, welcome back to Face It with Dr. G. I'm Dr. G, and I am here today to talk to you a little bit more about my background for all of you that are new to my YouTube or my podcast, how I am here where I am today. And we're going to go through a couple things. Hopefully it'll empower you and motivate you maybe to make a change in your life and your career path, or maybe not. So, as most of you know, I am a medical doctor, an MD, a triple-boarded dermatopathologist. And I did a lot of my training in Florida, shipped myself up to Boston in the New England area to do my residency and my fellowship up in Vermont. And I came back to Boston and was a dermatopathologist, so reading skin biopsies under the microscope from skin biopsies that were shipped to us from all over the country. And I loved that job. I thought it was amazing. And then I got this little bug, and I always kind of had the little bug. To be an entrepreneur and to start something new. And I didn't know if that was going to be starting my own dermatopathology lab or opening an aesthetic space, an aesthetic community, a business. And thing after thing, decision after decision, life went on, and here we are. And GFace MD was born in 2017. And I started very, very small in one room and used my background and my authenticity to grow to where we are today. And it wasn't easy. There were many hiccups and setbacks along the way. One of those, interestingly enough, which many of you, I think, don't know this about me, but I tried to hide my pathology background. And I felt as though it was something nobody understood. I was the only one, and still arguably am the only pathology-trained dermatopathologist that has a national and international reputation in aesthetics, in the aesthetic space. And I wanted to hide that. I was so unique that it was unheard of. And when I started to understand that I had something different to offer to this industry, which I want to empower all of you, that things that maybe you think are failures or weaknesses, that you need to tune into those and dig deeper and understand what they are, because those are what are going to, or that is what is going to propel you and make you unique. So I dug a little deeper and I started approaching aesthetics from a different point of view. I developed my skincare line, Sawyer Skin. I started approaching my patients at a very molecular level of sorts, digesting their skincare, understanding their skin phenotype. The beautification process was very different for me. I spent a lot of time communicating with my patients about their goals, and I know we all in the aesthetic space should do that. But what makes your consultation different from somebody else's? And it doesn't mean it's a better or worse or whatever, just different, because all of you are unique. And so I realized my consultation was very unique, and I offered something very different. So here we are. 7 years later at GFace MD, and we have a thriving practice. I have Sawyer Skin, the skincare line, and we've developed GFace Academy so that I can help grow and motivate and develop nurses and injectors and PAs and NPs and MDs and DOs and dentists from all over the country. And it's my passion to do that. And I think as an educator and an injector and a physician, that's a lot of things to juggle, as well as a mom and a wife and a sister and an aunt and all of the other things. There's a lot of things to juggle. But if you can hone in on what you're most passionate about, that will drive you forward. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Well, I feel like this has kind of turned into like advice now from your time like as an injector, and less about your
who
background.
I am.
Like that was like, I feel like that was kind of quick.
I don't really want to, I mean,
I'm trying to think of like the main points you
I don't know
kind of covered.
I just talked about hone into your weaknesses, because that's what's going to put you and make you unique. But I'm trying to think of like what else about me is like, I don't know. I feel like this one's kind of dumb.
Maybe you can turn it into like, I don't know, like what I've noticed throughout the aesthetics industry is like, because it's boomed so much, a lot of people who have been in it as long as you have didn't go into school to be like an aesthetics injector. And I feel like that is happening now. So that's kind of an interesting transition. And so it's cool to see, like, meet people at conferences and all these different practices and kind of see how people come to this industry. I don't know if that's interesting, but because it kind of goes along with, like, bringing your background into your consultations and how you treat patients and everything like that, the uniqueness of it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with that, or am I?
Yes. No, I do.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think about how, because I don't want to downplay that, because I think what's going to end up happening, I mean, it makes, the reality is my background is so unique. That's, I think, how it became so successful. Whereas now you've got a lot of people that just want to get into aesthetics, but they're going to need to dig deeper on, like, what makes them different, right? Because they don't have those experiences maybe to make them different. But I don't want to say that.
I know it. Yeah, you don't want to, like, sound like you're, like,
No, yeah.
Yeah, you can be like, it's just different from, 10 years ago when people were starting aesthetic. I don't know. You can just highlight how it's different now. I guess one thing you could say is, like, if you're an injector that's gone into nursing school or whatever, medical school, and throughout that time that you want to be an injector, figure out, like, what about this industry
I could talk
is
about
the most interesting to you.
So I could talk about, I get the question all the time, how do I get into the industry?
Yeah.
And then kind of go in that direction.
I think that's great.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
I get asked this question all the time, in person, on social media, via email. How do I break into this space? How do I get into aesthetics? And it's not just into aesthetics. How do I get there in the right way and do it the right way and have a mentor? And I think that is where now I've shifted, and I've grown GFACE MD and have an incredible team that continues to grow. But my focus is now on mentorship, mentoring them, growing them to be the best they can be. And I think I have opened up my life and my time to be a mentor to people even outside of my specific practice. And my advice would be, find someone that you respect, find someone that speaks to you, and find someone that knows how to teach in a way that is understandable, because teaching is not easy. And sometimes I find myself speaking a language that maybe other people don't understand. And that's okay. I just need to understand that, right? But what's unique about the industry, which I don't necessarily like the term aesthetic industry, because we are in aesthetic medicine. This is a field of medicine. So I just am guilty of saying it, but I'm really trying to transition to using the word aesthetic medicine, or the field of aesthetic medicine. We all have to understand this is medicine. This is not playtime, right? So stop with your Botox parties and things like that, please, okay? That was a little vent. However, I truly believe that historically, aesthetic medicine has been a space that has been very nebulous. We didn't really understand it. We had physicians and nurses that were in the space, but we just didn't know how to get there. We didn't know what to do with it. Now things are much more clear. People are leaving and graduating from their educational programs and wanting to go straight into aesthetic medicine versus spending time in the hospital. And that's incredible. That shows the power of this industry, this field of medicine. That shows the power of beauty and how everyone wants to feel and look amazing, right? And how we can change each other's lives. The other amazing thing now is there is so much education out there that it's overwhelming. There are tons of in-person conferences, there are virtual conferences, there are private trainings, and they all offer something unique. So my advice would be, find someone that speaks to you, a mentor. If you're interested in speaking with me, I'm happy to talk with you. Also find private trainings. Private trainings are very different than larger conferences. Private trainings can be hands-on, private trainings can be just observational, but you learn so much that way, and arguably more than at a conference where it's socialization. You meet other people that are supporters of this field of medicine, that are vendors and sponsors, people that can help with your website and things like that. And there is a lot of education to be had. It's just a different way to learn, and everyone learns a little bit differently. So dive into that. I also think having a business mentor is a good idea. There are several different business mentors in this space. If you're interested, you can send me a message. I also am happy to talk with you about that. So forming relationships and doing your research, social media is great for that, to find out where you think you'd fit in first. and just send them a message. I get them all the time and I love them, but it's not easy. You know, there are nurses and PAs and NPs that will offer to shadow for free just to learn. You have to, it's a give and a take, right? We all in the aesthetic space, we do somewhat start off at the same playing field, the same level, because in order to be the best you can possibly be in aesthetics, I firmly believe you need to do it full time. This means full time injections, skincare consultations, and nothing else. It doesn't mean that you can't. I just believe being the best in this industry, you need to dedicate 100+% of your time to it only. And that can be hard as well because you get scared. You don't want to jump in head first because you're scared about the financial aspect, which I completely understand. So everybody's situation is a little bit different, and I've seen a bunch of them. So my biggest takeaway is reach out, communicate. I'm on my Instagram an unhealthy amount, and I love to hear from all of you. I am happy to give you educational resources. There are so many wonderful academies out there. There's wonderful textbooks, and I'll do my best to guide you in the right direction. And if you guys have any advice for me on what I can provide for you, let me know. I hope this helped a little bit, my insight, my background, and then what I can do for you and how I view aesthetics. Like, subscribe, share. I can't wait to see you guys next time.